The smell hit Maya Carter first. That sharp cocktail of bleached cheap coffee and something else, something sour that clung to the walls like a secret no one dared name. She tugged at the collar of the gray jumpsuit she'd borrowed from Supply, feeling the scratchy fabric on her neck. Her cart's rusty wheels squeaked across the grimy linoleum as she pushed it into the bullpen of Harbor City's 8th precinct. It wasn't her first precinct, but this one felt wrong. The air was heavy and everyone's eyes were shadowed like they'd stopped expecting things to get better a long time ago. She kept her head down, a baseball cap pulled low, her hands usually steady on a service pistol or gripping the edge of a podium in front of city council now wrapped clumsily around a mop handle. It was a disguise and a good one. Nobody looked twice at a janitor, not here, not in this building where people stepped over problems instead of fixing them. She'd been undercover for 3 days, long enough to know the rumors were true. The 8th precinct wasn't just corrupt, it was rotting from the inside. And at the center of it all was Sergeant Darren Holt. And then, as if her thoughts had summoned him, he appeared. Holt was a big man with a gut that strained against his uniform, his walk loud and deliberate like he owned the place. He didn't even notice the officers who straightened up or shrank back as he passed. He expected it. When his eyes landed on Maya, they narrowed like a predator spotting prey. He barked, stomping over boots thudding against the floor. He jabbed a thick finger toward a dark coffee stain by his desk. You think this place cleans itself? Maya straightened a little, her voice soft, humble. Sorry, sir, I was just getting there. He laughed short and mean, and a couple of his lackeys chuckled behind him. Sorry, sir, he mimicked in a high-pitched voice. That's not good enough. He leaned in close, his breath sour. We all know about your kind, don't we, lazy? Useless. His words dripped with venom. The room went quiet. Phones kept ringing, but no one moved. Maya felt every pair of eyes on her, some pitying, some cold, others terrified. She met Holt's gaze for a fraction of a second too long, and that was all it took. You think you're too good for this job, he sneered. He kicked her mop bucket, sending gray water sloshing onto the floor. No mop. That's too easy. He disappeared into a closet and came back with a small scrub brush, tossing it at her feet. On your knees. I want to see this floor shine. A couple of officers snickered. Holt leaned back against his desk, arms folded, a smirk spreading across his face as Maya knelt. She picked up the brush. The floor was cold and wet under her knees, but she didn't flinch. This wasn't humiliation. This was camouflage. And Holt? He was too arrogant to realize he'd just given her the best seat in the house. She scrubbed slow and methodical eyes, scanning everything. She watched Holt's men laugh too loud, watched a young female officer at her desk grip her mouse so tight her knuckles turned white, pretending not to see what was happening. She caught a veteran cop subtly sliding a folder into another stack the moment Holt walked past. The fear in their faces was as loud as gunfire. Maya's ears tuned to every conversation around her. In the break room, two of Holt's closest cronies. Officers Miller and Diaz spoke in low voices, thinking she was just some tired cleaner. Doc's shipment came in early, Miller muttered, stirring his coffee. Holt had dispatch log it as a false alarm. Car 12 got rerouted. Diaz chuckled. The old man knows how to keep things running smooth. That smooth meant smuggling narcotics through Harbor City's docks, with Holt pulling the strings. She filed away at every detail. Later, by the records desk, she overheard Brenda, a jittery clerk, whispering into the phone, No, I told you the chain of custody for Locker 3B. It's misplaced. That's the official story. Maya's gut tightened. Misplaced wasn't a mistake, it was a system. By the time Officer Evans, a rookie barely old enough to shave, walked in with a file in his hands, Maya had already pieced together the puzzle. Evans knocked on Holt's office door, nerves written all over his face. Maya scrubbed nearby head, low ears open. Sir, it's the Russo case, Evans said, voice trembling. The bakery owner's willing to testify. She saw a docksman's guy leaving the scene. Timeline matches. Holt didn't even look up. Leave it with me. I'll review it. Sir, protocol says you questioning me. Holt's voice dropped dangerous. Evans swallowed hard. No, Sergeant. Maya's jaw clenched as she watched Evans leave, pale as a ghost. She knew that file would vanish before nightfall. And she knew Holt had just signed a civilian's death warrant. Hours passed. Maya scrubbed closer to his desk, her knees aching, the stench of bleach burning her nose. She became part of the furniture, a shadow. Holt got cocky. That's when his burner phone rang. He answered in a hushed tone. Yeah, I told you not to call this number unless it's an emergency. He listened, his grip on the pen tightening. A problem. The shipment clears the checkpoint at 9. My guys are running interference. What's the problem? Maya's pulse quickened. This was it. I don't care about your drama. Tell Rico the price stays the same. No surprises, no bodies. And the old woman? Make it look like an accident. Old folks slip in the shower all the time. Maya's vision blurred for a second. He'd just ordered a hit on Maria Russo, the sweet grandmother who baked bread for half the neighborhood. She braced herself on the floor, bile rising in her throat. When Holt hung up, he ripped Russo's statement in half, tossed it in the trash, and started drafting a false alarm report for the docs. The pen scratched against the paper like nails on a coffin lid. That was all she needed. Maya stood slowly, joints protesting after hours on the floor. She pushed her cart toward the closet, leaving Holt to his paperwork. Inside, she took a deep breath, fingers brushing the heavy badge hidden in her jumpsuit. She thought of her father, a beat cop who taught her that the shield wasn't power, it was responsibility. When she walked back into the bullpen, she left the cart behind. Heads turned as she strode straight toward Holt's desk, shoulders squared, chin up. Holt barely noticed at first, still hunched over his paperwork. Then her shadow fell across the form he was signing. He looked up annoyed. What the hell do you want now? Maya didn't say a word. She reached into her pocket, pulled out her badge, and slammed it on his desk. The gold shield skidded across the woods, stopping on his report with a sharp echoing clack. The room went silent. Holt blinked. Once, twice. His face twisted in confusion, then fear. What? What is this? My name is Maya Carter, she said, voice calm, sharp as glass. As of Monday morning, I'm the chief of police of this city, and this Sergeant Holt is the last thing you'll see before I personally escort you to a federal cell. Gasps rippled through the bullpen. Holt's cronies paled. Brenda covered her mouth. Evans froze, jaw dropped. The precinct doors burst open and internal affairs agents swept in with quiet authority. Maya didn't flinch. Secure his desk, his computer, top drawer burner phone. Miller and Diaz cuffed them. Conspiracy to aid narcotics trafficking. Miller stammered, "This is a mistake, no." Maya said, her voice low and steady. The mistake was thinking no one was watching. As Holt was dragged to his feet, Maya leaned in close enough for him to hear. Maria Russo is safe, and she'll testify against you, Rico, and every last piece of trash you protect. The color drained from Holt's face. His kingdom had fallen. Within an hour, the bullpen was a different place. Holt and his men were gone, escorted out in cuffs. Officers who'd enabled him turned in their badges, shame written all over their faces. Maya turned to Evans, the rookie still standing frozen near the coffee pot. You've got a choice, she told him. Be part of the problem or help me fix this. Evans straightened, meeting her eyes. Yes, ma'am, I'm in. Good. She needed him. She needed anyone who still believed the badge could mean something. By the time night fell, the precinct was quiet. Evidence boxes lined the hall and officers from other districts manned the phones. Maya stood alone in Holt's empty office, staring out at the city. The smell of his cheap cigars still lingered, but it didn't matter. He was gone. Her knees ached from hours on the floor, but she welcomed the pain. She'd knelt as a janitor so she could stand as a leader. She'd endured the humiliation to clean more than floors. She'd started cleaning a department. This wasn't victory. It was a reminder. Power wasn't the badge or the office or the gun. Power was responsibility. And Harbor City deserves someone willing to carry that weight. She turned her reflection in the dark window, looking back with steady eyes. The fight wasn't over, not by a long shot. But tonight, for the first time in a long time, the 8th Precinct felt like a place where justice could breathe again. What do you think, was Maya right to go undercover and humiliate herself to expose them? Or should she have played it safe from the start? Have you ever seen a bully's world crumble like that? Tell your story in the comments. We read every single one.